Welcome to the Ambitious Introvert podcast, created especially for introverts, empaths, and highly sensitive entrepreneurs to help you build, grow, and scale a successful, sustainable business. I'm your host, Emma-Louise Parks, business and mindset coach for ambitious introverts. After 17 years working as an air traffic controller, the ultimate fast-paced, high-stimulus, extrovert-friendly role, my mission now is to show introverts that they too can create big results and success because of who they are, not in spite of it. I focus on introvert-friendly business and marketing strategy to help you switch overwhelm for clarity, confidence, and clients. Hi guys, welcome to this week's episode of the Ambitious Introvert podcast with me, Emma-Louise, and my very special guest, my former coach and good friend, Ruth Kudzi. Hey, Ruth.
Hey, Emma. Lovely to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. Tell the audience a little bit about you and what you do and who you serve in your business.
So I am a coach, and as a coach, I work with established entrepreneurs who really want to up-level their mindset and their strategy and scale. And I'm also a coach trainer. So I train people to become certified coaches.
That's something that my audience discuss quite a lot, actually, because there are a lot of coaches in the online space that aren't certified, that don't necessarily have qualifications. Yes, some of them call themselves coaches, but they're actually more teaching marketing and strategies. I get that. But what was it about the coach certification that pulled you towards it?
Oh my gosh. Well, because of that, and I guess, so, okay, I'm going to be honest that commercially, I sat in a room about 6-7 years ago when I was doing some coach training. I've done lots and lots of coach training. I was doing this coach training weekend and I worked out the numbers in my head and I was like, wait a minute, this could be a really good business. And I'm a teacher and I'm a trainer. I could do this. And then some of the quality of the coach training I wasn't convinced by. And I thought, actually, I want to have more of a psychology and neuroscience slant on, which I've been studying since I was 16. So I could never do the numbers. That is like 26 years, nearly 27 years. I want to bring that more into it because I think it's missing. And also loads of coach training doesn't talk about how you get clients. So you train people as a coach and then they're left. And so for me, it was like that combination of things, but also coming across people and working with some clients actually who said, oh, I'm a coach. And I was working with them and we'd have our sessions and we'd, and they'd say, Ruth, like, I've never experienced anything like this. What are you doing? And I'm like, okay, this is coaching. What do you do in their sessions? And they're like, oh, well, I just tell people what to do. And so there was like this gap. And I thought, okay, wait a minute, there's definitely something here. And another example was I was sitting in a room with some people that were in a group program that I was running. And I was talking about energy and transference and counter-transference and all of these things. And this was a group of qualified coaches. And they all sat there and looked at me like I was an alien. And I was like, didn't you study this? And they all said, no. And I thought there's so many gaps. And actually being a coach, I think, is a really privileged job. And I think that when we are coaches, we hold space for people and we listen to them. And yes, you don't need to be trained to be a mentor, but actually, I really think that if you're going to be a coach and you're going to hold that professional space for someone, you need to have training.
I think that is a massive piece, actually. I've got a client who has come to me she's gone through my product suite, basically. She keeps coming back and we laugh about it. And I said to her, why do you keep coming back? And she said, because you hold space and I trust you. Yeah. And it's not business strategy. It's not, it's telling someone to go and do their to-do list. There is that real powerful aspect of coaching that I think people forget.
And when is someone, I said this to my trainees the other day, when is someone 100% focused on you, present with you, not with any of their own stuff? They're not thinking about what they're going to do. They're not thinking about, I'm going to sound like such a snob saying this. They're not thinking about the avocado shop. Sorry. They're not thinking like, oh my gosh, did I put avocados on my avocado shop? They're not thinking about all of this stuff. They're really present with you and they're not bringing in their experience. Now, mentoring and teaching and training are great. However, they're always, especially mentoring, it's done from the perspective of the person. And we're all different. And I know, I'm not an introvert, guys. I'm really not an introvert. I'm probably the opposite to an introvert. However, I live with an introvert. I've got one child who's an introvert, one child who's an extrovert. And I definitely see that, the way that I would do something is not the way my husband would do something. It's not the way that my eldest daughter would. So if I'm teaching from my experience, even that introversion, extroversion thing, I'm leaving out 50% of people.
Most clients that come to me, it's the same kind of backstory that I had when I came to you. It's this, I've done all the courses. I've read all this information. I've got all this information, but I still can't act on it because it's not been delivered in a way that suits the introvert mindset. This kind of 5-step formula, it does suit extroverts very well. Like, go and do this, go and record a video, put it out, go and reach out to these people. But as an introvert, you get to step 2, you don't want to do it. Everything, you just get lost.
Yeah. And I think, the big programs, they go to, probably most of the people who run them are extroverts, because in that nature, they want to be really visible. They want to be a lot of extroverts want to be famous, but you don't have to create a business in the way that they're saying. You don't have to have a 5-step, 10-step, 77 steps to make 7 figures in 7 minutes. You don't need to do that. And actually, I think there's a bit of permission here in saying, I'm going to do it my way. And my way is not the same way as their way. And I think that you can only really get that if you work with a coach who helps you recognize who you are and your strengths. I say this all the time. I teach personality profiling as well. And people think like all entrepreneurs are extroverts, and they're not. The entrepreneurs that you see plastered across Facebook are both, but the ones that are really visible, they probably are extroverts. There's lots and lots of people. I've been in rooms with 7-figure entrepreneurs and you would not know any of them. And I'd like you to hold that. Now, obviously they are visible in front of their clients in the right way, but you would not know them. They're not household names and they don't want to be household names.
And I do think there's a way of marketing. It's different for everyone, but for introverts, there are ways of marketing that are still really powerful and really succinct and get you in front of the right people. But it doesn't mean that you're spending 8 hours a day doing Facebook Lives and, chatting to loads of people in the DMs. That's not what it's about.
No. And do you know what? I never chat to people in the DMs. Well, I rarely do. But it's about finding what works for you and playing to your strengths rather than thinking and beating yourself up because you're not going to be visible every 5 seconds.
So when we talk about this success, like you say, 77 steps to get to 7 figures in 7 minutes and all this, you did something that quite bucks the trend this year that I'd love to discuss, is you closed down 2 of the most established and profitable parts of your business.
I closed down more than that, Emma.
Did you?
Yeah. So I actually, at the end of 2019, I made a decision not to do any more group programs. Now, historically for me, group programs I ran one called Accelerate Your Success. And I think that made me about £250,000 over 3 years, 2.5 years. And then I had a sales accelerator, which I only ran twice, which was kind of like Accelerate Your Success. And so they made me a lot of money. Okay, 250K. Probably in total, we made over 300 with upsells. Probably that's about £400,000 doing these programs. But for me, energetically, having a group that was bigger than 30 was, energetically, that was a lot of people to hold. And because of where people were in their journey, and it wasn't a really high ticket offer. It was between 1,500 and 2,000 because of where people were in their journey. They needed more support. And I found it draining. Now, it got results for people, but I thought, this isn't my zone of genius. I don't mind it, but I don't love it. So why am I doing it? So yeah, at the beginning of 2020, I did my last launch of a group program. I shut that down. And then in September this year, and so I've not done any more group programs. I've got no plans to ever do a group program like that again. I'm not going to say never, but I would be very surprised if I change my mind on that. And then actually last month in October 2020, I shut down 2 memberships and I opened a new one because it was too much. I had 2 memberships I had masterminds, which I run and will continue to run, although I'm not going to open a new one for a while. One-to-one clients, and I do my coach training. And there was too much. So I was like, okay, I'm going to shut these two and just have one membership. Keep it simple. So there's either you go membership, coach training, or I still work with people one-to-one. And probably in kind of April, May, June next year, I'll have another small group mastermind that will be fed from the people in the membership and in the coach training. And that's it. And do you know what else I got rid of? I got rid of, like, probably in 2018, I got rid of online courses. I stopped selling them. At the beginning of COVID, I bought those back because I went into my stress response, which was do. And then I just took them off the market. The only other thing that we're going to have in the business is we're going to probably have some like mini courses that are really simple and digestible, that are at a low price point, just for our Facebook ads. But we don't need to keep adding more. And actually, I realized that this was stopping me get to 7 figures, having all of these different things, because my energy was split. And what I really want to share is, my coaching business alone, where I just do one-to-one coaching. And okay, this year we did 3 masterminds. Next year we'll probably do 1. That alone is a multiple 6-figure company. And I don't need to advertise for that. I might share occasionally when I've got, like January 2021, I think we might have a spot. But usually I don't even need to share, because I've said that out loud to you, and then it will get filmed. Not from someone on here, but it will just get filmed because I've said it to the universe. And you can do that. Like, that business is really simple. And the reason that I get clients from that is referrals and reputation and results, the 3 R's. So you don't need to have a complex funnel. You don't need to have lots and lots of stuff running in the background. The fact that I'm doing like the mini bundle, and I have the membership and the training, I have support in all of those areas. So I have a team. And when I say team, it's not only people I don't actually have anybody who is on payroll. So nobody's on payroll. They're all contractors. And we were speaking about this at the beginning, that lots of people say, oh, we don't have a team. And what they mean is they only have a couple of people on payroll. I don't have anyone on payroll, but I have lots and lots of contractors. So I have coach trainers who I do train and support, but they work with me. I have associate coaches. I have somebody who writes some of my social media, because I like to talk. So they get my YouTube videos and they get my lives, and they write social content from that. And so when you see somebody who is, and I've made 7 figures in revenue in my business. I haven't done that over a year yet, so I want to be really clear on that. When you see someone like, multiple 6 figures going into 7 figures, you'll see that they're doing all of this stuff, but it's not them. They have people doing it for them. So you're comparing yourself to these people, and there's no point. It's not comparing the same thing. So I want to be really clear that I have simplified, but I still have a lot of support with what I do.
And that's a massive piece of this, because we do see Facebook ads or, things where it's showing the person like a guru, like they stood there on their own. Let me, sell you my secrets of how I did this. But not really admitting, okay, well, I have help and I have people doing this for 30 hours a week, or I have someone doing my entire social media.
Yeah. And actually, when I'm standing here in this ad, I haven't even written the ad copy. So, yeah.
And I don't know how to run an ad. Someone does that for me.
Yeah. And that's fine. But I think that sometimes we compare ourselves to this, and we think, and I had this thing about social media content for years, that I had to do it all to be authentic. And I was just wasting my time, because ultimately I was creating. And actually, and I'm not sure if you teach this, Emma, but I do a podcast. We'll have some interviews. I'll definitely invite you on in the new year. And I have a YouTube channel. Now, when I say I do it, all I need to do is I record the podcast. Everything else is done for me. YouTube channel, 2 days, I show up. I have a lovely guy called Curtis. He does it all. He edits it. He puts it up. It's transcribed. And then that becomes social content, blogs, etc.
And your videos are amazing, can I just say? I absolutely love them.
That's all I have to do.
Know.
So it looks like lots and lots of stuff. But actually, when you break it down, it isn't. And I think this is what you need to realize as well. Like, keep it simple. Do one thing really well. So be it a blog, podcast, long copy social media, newsletter. This is from Amy Porterfield, by the way. YouTube video, whatever it is, and then cut and slice that up. So that is your content tree every week. And then you're not having to be live every day. I've never been live every day.
Guys, have you joined the Facebook group yet? If not, head on over there, the Ambitious Introvert Network. The link is in the show notes. And I would love to have you there because I am so passionate about giving you ambitious introverts this space where you can go and be yourself. You can promote your offers, you can share your services, you can share your content, you can intro yourself, you can build relationships with other ambitious introverts, all in this introvert-friendly safe space that I've created, and nothing would make me happier than to have you join. We also have weekly introvert co-working sessions. We do free weekly hot seat group coaching, and you'll find content and video training in there that you can't get anywhere else outside of the group. So head over, join us today, introduce yourself, and become a really active part of the Ambitious Introvert Network. This is how I teach people to do it as well, depending on what their business is and, what they want to achieve. But I'm like, you can spend 90 minutes a week if you're early on in business, and you can get 5 really good social media posts. You can get a blog post, and you can plan out, your newsletter and your stories for the week. And then your decision fatigue is gone. You've got everything there ready to purpose.
And that's so, I think it's not only for introverts, for everyone. Then that's that done, because people spend so much time worrying about content, but actually think about what you can monetize, because your content really needs to be pushing people towards what you're going to monetize, whether that's gently by getting to know you, or whether that's slightly more forcibly by about saying to them, buy my stuff, obviously in a lovely packaged way.
And that's something that I got challenged on actually from my coach, because when I started the podcast, I was earlier on in business. I'd just re-niched. So I'd got a couple of clients from previous niche, but I was still trying to attract introverts. And I was trying to do everything. And she's like, you shouldn't be wasting your energy doing these things. Like, let's stay in your zone of genius. So I hired a podcast manager, which thank Lord I did, because I wouldn't have been able to have coped with it now. But yeah, same thing. I record this and I drop it in a Google Drive today, and it magically appears online on said date with show notes and collateral for social media. Like, that's amazing. Otherwise, that would take me hours. I don't even want to think about how many hours I'd spend trying to do that.
Oh, I can't even imagine, Emma.
No, definitely not my zone of anything with tech. I'd be okay until I had to design something. No.
Yeah. I'm not allowed anywhere near Canva, because even when I say to myself, I'll just go there for 5 minutes, I manage to, no one knows what I do, but I manage to destroy things that my designer has created. I manage to overlay it, and it always looks basically like a 5-year-old has been in. So I'm like, why am I doing that? That's not a zone of genius. And so even if you're early on in business, early on, we do have to do a lot, but start to think about what it is you do that drains your energy, and get somebody else to do it as soon as possible.
Energy is such a big piece. And I know we discussed this when I saw you in January, and then we discussed it again at my birthday, because we'd both worked with an energy coach. Yes. And actually, when you start to look at these things, even whether it's your food or, moving your body, your whole vibe, but then also what you're doing and giving within your business, you can leak so much energy in all these small places.
Yes. And I know this is so I'm not saying this from a preachy place, but I was saying to my husband before this, so we both work from home, obviously. I think everyone does in 2020, but we did before. I said to him, when I do my morning routine, I feel so different. And I've been resisting doing it in the second lockdown. So I was thinking, well, it's not going to last forever and blah, blah, blah. But actually just really simple things like that, like doing yoga for 15 minutes, looking at what your day looks like. And when I look at my day, I write in when I'm going to go for a walk. So I'm like, okay, I can have I live next door to a park. I can have 4 walks today. When can they be? And something as simple as that changes, because energetically, you're already thinking about when you're going to replenish yourself. It's crazy.
And I've done that. I've started scheduling in like 15-minute meditations.
Yeah.
Like if I've got half an hour between calls or between podcast recordings, say, it's not really enough time to get stuck into doing any work, but I don't want to waste it. And I'm like, I can do a 15, 20-minute meditation. I've started putting it in my calendar.
And then you do it.
And then I do it because it's scheduled. So I will do it.
Yeah, because you get little alerts and you look like, oh, it's a meditation now. So funny, isn't it, how our brain works? That if it's in our calendar, we do it. If we say that we'll do it and we don't write it down, we can convince ourselves that we've forgotten.
It's the easiest thing in the world for me to get out of bed and feel like I've got to open the laptop straight away. I've got to go and, respond to things on Facebook, or I've got to go. So say today, like the podcast comes out today. So I've got all the audiograms and the graphics to post on social media. So in my brain, I'm like, I've got to go and do that. It's like, I don't have to do it straight away. I could do it this evening. I could do it tomorrow. Like, it's not going anywhere, but I wake up and it's that urge I've got to go and do something. And I go, no, until I've done my mindset work, meditated and moved my body, I'm not opening the laptop.
Yeah, because actually you just get sucked in, and emails are other people's agendas. So you get sucked into everybody else's agenda, and you go down that hole, and really, is it your priority? Probably not.
Something that I've realized as well from, I think, being an introvert, but definitely from being highly sensitive, is the effect of technology on me. And obviously coming from an air traffic background, I realized that I got very drained by the screens and, the static and the artificial light. But I've realized now that even when I'm at home, even when I'm doing stuff I love, when I'm coaching people or writing content, being in front of the screen still drains me. So I'm less likely to do anything in the evening after I've been on the screen all day. So, which is why I have to make myself do it first, because I won't come off the screen and then be like, oh, I'm going to go and do an hour of mindset work. No chance.
No.
I'll do it first thing in the morning.
Yeah. If I don't do something first thing, I don't do it. Like mindset work, reading. I might do reading later as well, but yeah, it does drain. I'm doing my NLP master practitioner, and it was all on Zoom last week. Oh my gosh, 9:30 till 6. It was amazing. But I was like,
there's a lot of information in that master as well.
And I'm like, I can't, like, I don't want to see another screen. I don't want to be near any technology. And it was very, very interesting that it had that impact on me, because I think being aware of the impact that technology does have.
And it comes back to that simplifying, like you say, you've simplified your business, we're simplifying our energy by just saying, right, these are the things that I do for my own well-being, and I do them in the morning before I do anything else. It's so much easier to stick to that than, oh, I'll do it later. Let me think. Oh, no, I missed it. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow.
Oh, it's so much easier. And yeah, with the simplifying the business, it's the same. Like, really think about what you want your business to look like and feel like. And if you feel this obligation to have a Me Too business, I call them Me Too businesses, where you think, oh, Emma-Louise has got a podcast, I need a podcast. So Ruth has got a membership, I need a membership. So-and-so's got a group program, I need it. Take a step back and ask yourself, well, why? Why do I want that? What purpose? How is it going to help me actually with the business that I want to create and the life that I want to create?
I had this discussion with someone in a Facebook group. It wasn't my Facebook group. It was, I don't know how we got onto it, but she said, oh, I feel like I should have a membership. Everyone's got memberships. So NLP for you there. Everyone's got memberships.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, they are popular. Yeah. But she was like, but I don't like them. I was like, but you don't have to have one. Oh, but I should, because everyone has. I was like,
what kind of everyone? Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's crazy, but we all do it because I think there is still that security and like, oh, well, other people do it, therefore it must be great. But, unless you've been inside the other person's head, they might be hating it. You don't know.
I've got a friend who does not like one-on-one coaching. She doesn't like it. So she does everything course-based now. Everything's sold through courses and speaking. But she does not like one-on-one coaching. She almost went through that to get to the stage where she could sell things passively as a needs must. Yet my coach loves one-on-one coaching so much that that's all she does.
Yeah. And
each to their own.
It is. And I think it's finding your thing and not being afraid of saying, actually, this didn't work. This wasn't the right thing for me. So I'm going to move on from it.
So something else that we see quite a lot in the online space is the what next, what next, what next. Like, oh, right, I've hit 10K. Right, quick, I've got to hit 15. Or, oh, I've made 6 figures. Right, I need to make 250. And I love that you're saying like, oh, you're looking at mastermind next year. But other than that, are you happy with your business as it is?
Yeah, I'm really happy. I mean, I was saying this to somebody earlier, like I make enough money that covers all of my expenses in my business. That means I can take home 6 figures. That means that I can have a team that do loads of things. That means that I can pick my kids up from school 3 days a week. That means I can take my kids to school every day if I want to. I don't take them every day. That means I probably take them like 4 days, 3 or 4 days. My husband takes them too. That means that I can go for walks with my husband in the middle of the day. That means, and so would I trade all of that to make 2.5 million a year and not have that? No. That isn't really what motivates me and gets me up in the morning. And it's really interesting because actually when I see some people who started at a similar time to me, and they're making more money than me, but I wouldn't want their business. And I think that we really need to acknowledge, like, what is it that you want? My kids are only 4 and 6. So for me, having that time in the morning, I call it like the golden hour, from like 7:45 to 8:45. It's stressful as anything. So I'm getting them ready for school and all of that. But it's lovely. And having that time when they come home from school, I can ask them about their days and notice if they're a bit quieter than normal, or they're a bit more loud than normal, or that, something's going on with them. I wouldn't change that. And I think we need to really acknowledge where we are in terms of what we want.
I remember having a discussion with you earlier this year about, like, you were basically saying you could fit in another one-on-one client, but it would mean working on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And like, what are the trade-offs for that? And I think that's what people don't look, because they go, I can fit another client in, so that might be another 20 grand a year. But then you were like, well, I'd have to do it while the kids were swimming. And then it would mean that I hadn't switched off all weekend, which means I wouldn't be in as good a space for my clients on Monday. And it would, like, and when you start to look at the what if, like, is it worth the trade-off?
No. Yeah, it's really not.
So one more thing I'd love to ask you about before we wrap up is Spiral.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, completely different tack now. People are going to be like, what's Spiral? But I've been watching Ruth's journey with Spiral. I'm intrigued. So I'd love you to tell us a bit more about it.
So Spiral is like it's an energetic clearing system that really combines kinesiology, which I can never say, NLP, chakras, and spiral dynamics. So you basically, when you take someone through the spiral, it's seven different layers, starting at your root chakra, going up to your purpose, which is the crown of your head. And you do 3 lots of energetic clears for each session. And it helps you get rid of a lot of the stuff that you hold in your body. So the emotions that you're holding in your body and that association with that emotion. So each time you go through it, you'll clear new things. And for me, energetically, I went through it I think I did it June, July this year. And then I trained in August. And I must say, so I've got about 5 people going through it at the moment. Well, yeah, I've got a couple that are finishing and a couple that are starting. So 5 is the maximum I ever have at any one moment. And it's just really powerful because it's different. And it's about really harnessing who you are and stepping away from those old patterns and behaviors.
It sounds amazing, and I can't wait. I can't wait to get invited. It's on my list. It's on my wish list. Spiral with Ruth for next year. But the fact that it's I think it's the energetic aspect of it that really appeals to me, and that someone like you, who has a lot of education, a lot of credibility, neuroscience background, but then you go, this is amazing. That gets me interested.
Yes, it is, and it's really interesting. Yeah. Like some of the people I'm taking through it, some of my clients are like, I want to train in this.
See, that's why I'm afraid to do it, because I'll probably be the same.
Yeah, I think you would be. It's so funny because they're like, yeah, can I just ask you a question? You're like, of course. So can you tell me a bit more about training? You're like, yeah.
See how many messages I get now from listeners going, oh, I'm interested in this Spiral. So Ruth, before I let you go, I'd love to ask you for a book recommendation that you would recommend for my ambitious introverts starting or building an online business.
Okay, so it's a book that I'm rereading for the 3rd time, It's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One with Dr. Joe Dispenza. If you do not know Dr. Joe, he's a pretty special guy. Can I tell you a little story with this? So
Please do.
I went to see Dr. Joe with my friend Noor Hibbett. So Noor is, she's a best-selling author and she's a coach as well. She used to be my coach and we're great friends. And at that time, it was last year, it's November last year, probably to the date around now, her brother had he basically had a blood clot on his brain and collapsed, and they didn't think he was going to live. And they had done all of the stuff in Dr. Joe's book. Her brother Laith is now completely well and healthy, but they've been doing this. They've been praying for him. They've been sending all of this energy to him when he was in Budapest in a hospital. And, you know, it gives me tingles now because it kind of like it all came to me at the same time. You know, obviously a good friend's brother is severely ill. And then she's talking to me about this, which she talked to me about before. And I went to see him and I'm like, yeah, we can change our minds. And actually, you know, even the way he describes an atom is so like, it will blow your mind.
It's a great book. And for anyone that wants a bit of an easier introduction to it, there's a documentary on Netflix called Heal. And that features Dr. Joe. Have you seen it?
I have seen it. I saw it on the plane somewhere. I was trying to get my husband to watch it. I must have been going to Ghana. I was like, come on, watch it. And he's like, no. It's like, this is amazing.
It's got Dr. Joe and his whole backstory and how he got into doing what he does. And it's really great. So thank you for sharing that recommendation. I'm going to pop all of your details in the show notes where everyone can find you online. But for anyone that can't read it right now and they want to remember, what's the best place that they can find you quickly?
I'm really lucky because there's no one else called Ruth Kudzi. So it's Kudzi, ruthkudzi.com. Or Kudzi Coach Academy, which you can access from there too. Facebook, Ruth Kudzi, Instagram, Ruth Kudzi. I've got a Facebook group called The Coaching Community. So just type my name in. It's easy to find.
Lovely, Ruth. Thank you so much. It's been amazing to catch up with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Ambitious Introvert podcast with me, Emma-Louise Parks. If you enjoy this show, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on iTunes. As a thank you, one lucky reviewer each month will win a 60-minute one-on-one coaching session with me, where you'll get the clarity and confidence to attract your ideal clients. And if you know someone who could benefit from listening to the show, then please do share and help me reach as many fellow ambitious introverts as possible.